Hey everybody, here's what I'm gonna show you today. Here's the finished hand. I got a new sculpting area because apparently it was hard to see with the light the other day, being backlit with the window. But here you can see the fingers. I hope we're gonna do those fingernails and finish the knuckles in here. I'll show you a simple way to do that. I think everybody's gonna like this, I hope. I listened to my voice on there and I thought of the old Bob Ross painting videos. So maybe at least it'll help some people go to sleep. Green stuff. Thing I like about this material, which a lot of people don't like, is how sticky it is. But for me, it's what makes it great. It bonds well to everything. It's basically, to start, I roll a few of these tiny little balls out here, like this. Then apply them to where the knuckles would be on this next hand. Tend to not worry about this knuckle here because the fingernail, you'll see when I apply it, kind of takes both parts. So I do this knuckle usually and the second. This hand here, I didn't make the fingers as long either because I wanted to really accentuate those claws. So you can see right here, I'll start the first knuckle. Another trick too is that I've found anyway for me is keeping my putty warm if I'm going to try to do layers like this. It's stickier when it's warm versus if it's cool. So if you're a beginner and you're having a lot of trouble with it, sometimes you can put it in the refrigerator. And it tends to be a little bit less sticky than if you have it stored like where I do. I'll stick it on the TV or something before I want to use it and get it warm. Me, I just use water as a lubricant. But to start these knuckles, what I'll do is I'll roll these little pieces out here. And this tool here, this tip, it's like a spoon. Put a little water in there. And I just kind of pinch at the very edge and drag back. Takes relatively no time. Blend all this in fairly quickly. With this tool. Don't worry about any edges or anything yet, because you'll probably bump those when you're doing the fingernails. This is my favorite tool made. I got this from Heresy Miniatures, I believe. Andy sells a really nice set of tools there. This tip is the best tip I've found to sculpt anything. It's kind of rounded on this end, and this end's more like a knife. And it's my favorite tool ever made. I built one somewhat like this before, and while it worked great, it's just not the same as owning this tool for me. I think I wouldn't be doing half as well as I am now without this tool. And that's another thing, just finding the tools that work for you. I know guys that can sculpt with tools that couldn't even imagine. I watched a video with Jag. A lot of people know who he is. And he sculpted with a wooden tool that was, I mean, I think he could have sculpted with a toothpick. He could sculpt with anything. Okay, as you can see here, those are already blended in. I hope you can see. I kind of got the light. It's hard for me to see. I'm looking in this. It's like sculpting into a mirror, so everything's backwards to me. Now what we'll do is to get these fingernails, this it's hard to see. To get that kind of look, the claw-like look, so you see on that hand. Probably pick this up and use the camera direct once we get this done. Hurry up and knock this out. I don't want this video to be too long. See, I'll just roll them on a table. Roll out these little claws. Pop them on. Oops. Excuse me. This is why I want this putty sticky. Kind of press them on. That's all there is to it. Do 4 of them. Make them different sizes. Depending on what finger, index and middle finger, I tend to like a little bit bigger, beefier. Makes it look more like a monster when I'm done. And then I'll make the last 2 a little bit smaller. At this stage, your hands will start to look pretty good. By the time I get to the thumb and add, say, this part of the hand here, like this muscle in your hand, they really begin to look good. Takes a little time to do them this way, but for me, I think the hands and feet are complex parts of the figure that I like to spend a little more time on. Okay, this has the same principle as before. A little water. Blend this finger back. You notice I don't do a lot of pushing. There isn't a whole lot of putty movement going on. It's more of a gentle kind of, I call it tapping. Kind of tap it back and forth, get it into place. At this stage too, something that you really have to think about, especially if something's going to be molded, or these type of things in here where you begin to combine elements of fingers to make a piece easier to cast, or think about how that's going to affect being able to cast something. I do all my own casting, so it makes it a lot easier for me because I know what I can get away with versus people that go out of the house, out of their studio to have things cast. Another thing to think about is how you're going to mold these versus metal, resin. Get what type of molding process. I've done these molds with the fingers with no wires in them. People are pretty amazed that they turn out. I've done them in metal, in organic spin molds. I've done them in RTV molds. And I've done them in low temp vulcanized molds. So they hold up really well. A lot better than you could imagine. But it's a lot of it's prep and knowing what's in there. Good mold maker, if they know what's going on with your figure and what's inside, how you build them, they can work with you on that. But then there's always a chance of destroying something like this. Another thing I do is I rest my hand, which sometimes blocks the camera, onto a part I'm working on to help stabilize me. Kind of shaky hands for my job. I work concrete in my day job. This stage, it's pretty much everything I need to make these look pretty good. So now I'll take this tool here, get a lot of that water out of my way where I can see, and I'll do the final kind of blend of getting the knuckles and the fingers kind of smoothed out here. Something you're going to see here now is that when I was pushing these on, I kind of pushed these knuckles too far up. It's really hard to see what I'm doing here. Keep it where you can see it also. So what I'm going to do is pull a little bit of this back down towards the finger itself to kind of give that finger knuckle a little more meat on the bottom side. And then whatever's left, I'll blend back towards the